The 765th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up for Underdog Fantasy using promo code MMA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And we're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Earn up to $750 per month on all of your gambling transactions. Just go to edgeboost.bet and use promo code SGPN. And finally, we're brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Heidi ho, degenerinos. Welcome to episode 765 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to Abadidaba, one of our friends in the Discord, very, very active in our Discord, with very good intel. Almost like a second Gumby in there, which is good to see. Plus, Abadidaba's new server profile picture is of Alexandra Tekina, making her, is that her first name, Alexandra? Yes. Making mean mugging the camera, so yes. So it goes out to Abadidaba and everyone else. Thank you for coming to the show. I am your host, the Princess Possum, Jeff Fox, and I'm not snowed anymore. I am back in the big city, so that nickname had to go. And we are covering UFC Seattle, aka UFC Fight Night. Who dat? Because there's a whole lot of people that, unless you're hardcore, you're gonna say who dat. This is like an old school UFC fight card where half of the fights got
not old
canceled.
School, like a pandemic one, a
pandemic
one,
era,
which is old-ish school, but not like old school.
Yes. That would be Daniel Gumby Vreeland. Everyone say hi to him. He is riding shotgun as per usual. But yeah, this is a snake-bitten fight card. We were down to 11 fights until yesterday, like Tuesday night. And all of a sudden, a fight was added from two people who are – actually, one person isn't new to the organization, but two brand new names to the fight card, kind of. So yeah, it's been a interesting fight card. And to maybe make things even worse, I was going to say it's really chalky, but I ended up in on a few dogs here, but yeah, fairly chalky fight card and a lot of newcomers here. So that's why the man riding shotgun, Gumby, is important because he knows everyone who's fought anywhere at any time.
Yeah, I do know all of these people. Had known all of these people before. I also have to say, because you said in there, and it's we talked about it a little bit off air. Two guys who are kind of new to this fight card because Nikolay Veretennikov is now fighting Austin Vanderford on this card. We don't have a graphic for it. It's one of the few fights we'll ever not have a graphic for.
Just last night it was added officially.
Just last night it was added. And the weirdest part is he's already fallen off of this fight card once. He was supposed to fight Billy Goff in Seattle. He dropped off. They needed to find Billy Goff a new opponent. They found him Adam Fugit, who also fell off the fight card. And then they were like, oh, we won't find a replacement for Billy Goff. But guess who's back? Veretennikov fighting a guy who we didn't know was in the UFC.
Yep.
And like they announced it almost as if, and you know, like the announcements came out, it's almost if like we were supposed to know Austin Vanderford was already there. You know, like nobody was like, oh, Austin Vanderford got signed. It was like, oh yeah, and they made the fight with Vanderford. And I was like, the hell? When did that happen?
Yes. Yeah, it's confusing. So is Vanderford short notice? Do I count him as short notice or not?
I think he's got to be. But you mean Veretennikov?
Which one's short notice?
Yeah,
both of them, I guess, are right.
Yeah, and like Veretennikov, I think shouldn't be short. He shouldn't be short notice because he was on this fight card once upon a time.
Yeah,
but like, was he in training camp? I have no idea how long he wasn't on this fight card.
And why did he pull out to begin with?
Yeah, did he pull out? Billy Goff seems very perplexed by it too, as well. Just for the record, he posted.
No, he did pull out. I looked it up, and he's listed as pulling out. I don't know when that happened, but yeah.
I wonder if the UFC just wanted Goff versus Fugit and thought that was more fun. I think Fugit's a Pacific Northwest guy too, so maybe they were just trying to get him on the card, and they're like, "Oh, we'll make it up to you, Veretennikov," and then they needed him to make it up to them.
And Billy Ray Goff ends up the big loser in it all because he has no dance partner now, right?
Weird.
Yeah, it is very strange, but it's going to be. They try their hardest. They had this fight card, They had some solid fights here because it is not, as you could tell by UFC Seattle, it is not in the UFC Apex. So they actually were booking it with some solid fights. Dominic Cruz was going to make his return against Rob Font. Curtis Blades was supposed to fight an incoming heavyweight. Fugit was supposed to fight a billion different people. We were supposed to have Edson Barbosa, Steve Garcia, Ketlin Vieira, Macy Chasson. All those fights are done. So yeah, it's.
I also got to say though, one of my buddies pointed out they don't seem to have made very much effort to put Pacific Northwest guys in there, right?
No,
there was no rumors of Chiesa. There was
a rumor actually. He was tied to it apparently at one point.
Oh, okay.
He never had an opponent. So
then, like Terrence McKinney. Have you heard anything about Terrence McKinney?
He just fought. So yeah. They should have just saved him. He just fought a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, it's all very odd. It's all very odd to me. But you know what? I bet you we make some money on it.
Oh, we're gonna make money on it regardless. So regardless of who's fighting, when they're fighting, where they're fighting, we even make money on Samurai Fight House. So that's the way we roll. Before we dive into things, if you are looking for free daily picks for college basketball, NBA, college baseball, NHL, and more, download the SGPN app free in your app store. So just type in SGPN and you shall get the goods. All right. And to top it off, we have 2 catchweight fights too on this fight card. So lots of fun. Today is all about the prelims. Let's give you the whole breakdown, as I like to do off the top, tell you who, what, when, where, all that stuff. So UFC Fight Night Cejudo versus Song is the actual name, not who dat. It's taking place in Seattle, Washington, February the 22nd, Saturday, as per usual, 6 p.m. Eastern start time. Busy weekend for MMA. We've already covered 5 different events for you. This is the 6th event we are covering for this weekend, which means there's at least 6 events worthy of you watching this weekend. This one is actually the last one that we are going to cover chronologically as well, because I think what's the only Saturday one we covered was Octagon, I think, and that's a noon start. Does that sound right? Something like that?
I think that sounds right. That sounds right to me. They're an early one, and this one's sort of early, right?
6 o'clock is early for people in Seattle in the Climate Pledge Arena. We're up to 12 fights. So we're doing, today is all about the prelims, as you hardcores or you long listening, long viewing fans of ours know. We do have fans. I'll call you fans. Today is all about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 prelim fights. Kicking things off with a light heavyweight fight. Modestas Bukauskas, whose accent will surprise you. Raffael Cerqueira. I haven't heard him talk on Gumby's podcast ever, so I don't know what he sounds like. Probably sounds like a Brazilian gentleman, I would guess. So this is light heavyweight. We'll tell you about the Brazilian first. Cerqueira is the Lion. 11-1, 8 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out once. 0-1 in the UFC. Got TKO'd in his last fight. Was regional champ. Used to fight up at heavyweight. He got outstruck. I think this is the biggest strike differential we've had.
One fight.
Minus 31.76 strikes per minute. He was outstruck by, who did he fight again? Remind me.
Ibo Aslan.
Right. Who we'll talk about later on this episode.
I think the fight took 30 something, maybe less than a minute.
He hit a lot of punches. He's at plus 250, Cerqueira. Bukauskas, the Baltic Gladiator. So we got a Gladiator versus a Lion once again. I love it when the nicknames line up. 16-6, 9 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out 4 times, submitted once. 4-4 in the UFC over 2 stints. However, the second stint has gone much better. He's won 5 of his last 6 fights overall, including his last fight via submission. He was in between UFC stints, he was the Cage Warriors champion 2 times. Was a regional champ as well. Used to fight at 185. 2015 pro MMA debut. 2 inches of reach, 3 years younger than Cerqueira. Better striking stats, twice more active landing strikes, better grappling stats. All this is based off that one disastrous fight. Bukauskas has been outstruck though in the UFC by almost a strike minute. He's at minus 0.90, and he's at minus 278 on the board. Gumby, kick things off.
Believe it or not, I'm going to go Cerqueira.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know a lot of people probably didn't expect this. I knew you weren't going to. But I went back and I watched a lot of his stuff before the Aslan fight, because obviously, like, he got tagged by Ibo Aslan, a dude who punches so freaking hard. It happened in the first 20 seconds of the fight, and you're like, well, are we going to actually read anything into that? So I went back and I watched his other fights, and the dude is really good at establishing range. He throws like a nice front kick to the solar plexus. He does have a habit of kind of leaving himself open to be countered on punches. Like his hands are low to the point where he could get hit. But the thing is like, and this is what got me around to thinking like, there's definitely value on him at plus 250 is Modestas isn't knocking anybody out, right? Like who's the only, when have you ever seen Modestas on his feet hurt somebody?
He used to on the regional scene, he would knock people up, but yeah, it's been
years since we
Chuck
saw him
Campbell in Cage Warriors.
But even that was just
December.
Chuck Campbell's exhaustion. Chuck Campbell was so gassed in that fight. And, you could go back and look at his first stint in the UFC, and he's got the Michaelitis one, right?
Yeah.
But the Michaelitis one was he was grounding and pounding him at the end of the first round, and Michaelitis stood up. They opened the cage door, and he slipped through it. And like the ref thought he was woozy and waved the fight off. And like, not that it wasn't clearly going to be a Modi win, but like my point is that we've got Modestas Bukauskas, who I think is a worse striker. Based on how he was throwing with Marcin Prachnio, he's not, I don't think he's a better striker. Prachnio was hurting him. Prachnio won the second round on the judges' scorecards and looked to be doing better on the exchanges in the third in that one until he got taken down. So then we're talking like, do we just trust Modestas Bukauskas' wrestling game enough against the jiu-jitsu black belt? And granted, all jiu-jitsu black belts are not created equal. Haven't seen a lot of Cerqueira's game, but at plus 250, I mean, I think I'll take the better, more dangerous striker at light heavyweight at that price.
All right, look at this guy coming out of the gate with a hot take. I'm surprised. You're turning on your friend who
I love Modestas Bukauskas. And actually, if you guys remember too, I had him by submission in that fight with I think it was like 13-1 for him to submit Prachnio, and I even got to be on the big show to call that one too, by the way. The mothership.
Yes, there you go. Well, it shows that he's Gumby is pretty confident with his pick if he's willing to go against Bukauskas. I am not, but I didn't do extensive tape research on Cerqueira as you did. I just know Bukauskas has been looking good since he
six spinning back elbow KO on his regional record.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, real sick one.
All right, I'll take chalk here. No big shock. Taking the chalk, and that rhymes. All right, let's get you another one before we tell you about some of our lovely sponsors. We're going to drop down to middleweight. Nursulton Ruziboev. We just spoke of his brother the other day. He ended up pulling out of his fight, or his opponent did, one or the other, right?
No, he pulled out.
Okay. He is from Uzbekistan, as is his brother. Eric McConico from the United States. One of those who dat people. 3 5-minute rounds, 185.
He was in a main event. Tough enough.
Yeah, I did watch film on a lot of these people, either to remind me who they were because they only fought like once, like on Contender Series, or I've never seen them before. McConico, one of those gentlemen. He's 9-2-1, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out twice. This is his debut in the UFC. He's won 5 straight fights, including his last fight via submission. He's not lost since December 2019. Used to fight at 205 and 155. Quite a change there. Plus 230. Ruziboev Black is 34-9-2 with 2 no contests, 12 knockouts, 20 submissions. The man finishes people. 1 knockout. He's been knocked out himself once, submitted once. 2-1 over his last 3. Did lose his last fight. Used to fight at 155 and 170. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt, sportsgamblingpockets.com/store, or get this sticky one I'm wearing right now. Not literally sticky, but it says sticky. 2014 Pro MMA debut, 2-0 in boxing, 5 inches height, an inch of reach over McConico, 3 years younger, minus 270. I basically just watched tape to see if McConico impressed me with anything, and to make me think he's worthy of a dog pick here, but nothing really stood out that impressed me. So Ruziboev is going to be my pick. Bigger, younger, and just an insane finisher. So give me a Black in this one.
No, I'm going to go McConico.
Really? What do you like about him?
I really like the takedown trips. And just as bad as Ruziboev was in his last fight on takedown defense, I mean, he was, and granted, it was Joaquin Buckley, but his takedown defense was awful in that fight. And there was like virtually no get up. That's the piece to me that stuck out, that like, I think if McConico gets him down, he could finish him. Because like, if you watch Ruziboev, anytime he got taken down by Joaquin Buckley, the only time he got up is when Joaquin got off of him. Occasionally he put his like feet on the hips and Joaquin was like, okay, well, maybe I don't want that, and just back away. And then he was up. Outside of that, he would have been on the bottom of Joaquin Buckley the entire fight. And for me, and like, again, Buckley has proven to be a pretty good wrestler, and he's sort of figuring things out in that realm. But like, he just went down so easy, and that's a big piece for me. And then the other thing is too, is like, yeah, McConico's maybe got some things that I think are, hittable in terms of his striking. And certainly he could walk into a big one here from Ruziboev, but I really do like the way he swarms when he tags people. Like when he starts to find success on the feet and he starts putting together combinations, he gets right in your grill and like really forces you to do it. And with Ruziboev, the only thing that he does that's like tricky in that time is like throw an uppercut to try to get himself out of it. And like McConico is not a guy who like repeatedly ducks his head into things like that. Even his takedowns are like more body lock trip type stuff. So like I could really see him like giving trouble to Ruziboev, and then like Ruziboev's usual counters not even like really playing into, stopping McConico. So, I didn't plan on going double dog out the gate here. But like the more and more I watched about McConico, I think there's something to it. And you know me, I'm a little bit of a sucker for an MMA lab guy. So that certainly
that's
doesn't
what's
hurt
going
either.
on here. That's what's going on here. What order is
Gumby? Hey, they had a good last week. We
sure
can't,
did.
Yeah, we can't look down on their last week. So
nope. Gumby's coming out of the gate hot here. All right. Before we move on, see if Gumby stays on the dog tip here. We'll tell you about Edge Boost. SGPN has partnered up with Edge Boost, the premier Visa debit card for bettors. An Edge Boost card allows you to avoid the hassle of having your card denied at sportsbook, DFS site, sweepstake site, racetrack, or casino. Plus, you can earn up to $750 per month in cashback rewards for using your Edge Boost card. You know your money is safe as the card is FDIC insured. The best part is no credit checks and it's completely free. Sign up today. Use the promo code SGPN so you get better cashback rewards and instant tier 2 status so you can make Al Horford bets like we are. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. Edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And we're brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet every sport, plus props and every game. Props for every game and the live dealer casino. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. Easy deposits and lightning fast payouts using crypto. Al Horford, once again, is the bets you're going to want to make there. But you can bet the UFC or in MMA as well. Check out the lines. When you do, head to mybookie.ag. Make sure you use the promo code MMASGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag, promo code MMASGPN. All right, we are to the hastily made fight, which is down at welterweight. We keep going down weight classes. Austin Vanderford.
I'm gonna warn you guys, no graphic on this one. It's
no graphics, sir. You're gonna have to look at our faces, just like old school. Austin Vanderford, United States. Nikolay Veretennikov from Kazakhstan. 3 5-minute rounds. Actually not 170, 175. I believe I saw this one. Is that so?
Yeah, it's
a catch weight fight. The newcomer is the gentleman, Austin Vanderford, aka Mr. Paige Van Zant. He's 12-2. 4 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out twice. This is his short notice, a debut in the UFC. We just determined we're going to count it as short notice because his opponent kind of was on this card at one point. He's gone 1-2 over his last 3. Got won his last fight via TKO. He's not lost since August 2022. He went 5-2 in Bellator. 1-0 Contender Series. He's a regional champ, or was. Used to fight at 185. 2-2 as a pro grappler. He was a wrestling champ in, I think, junior college it would have been. More active landing strikes than Veretennikov, based off the stats that we have for these guys. Better grappling stats as well. He got outstruck. The one fight we have stats for, I think, is only the Contender Series fight for him. He got outstruck in that fight by 1.29 strikes per minute. He's at plus 118. Veretennikov is 12-5, 9 knockouts, 1 submission. Been knocked out once, submitted once. 0-1 in the UFC. He's won 3 of his last 4, but did lose his last fight. He has multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. Get sticky with it. 0-1 in Contender Series as well. 2012 Pro MMA debut. He's fed at 155 and 185. 2 inches height, an inch reach over Vanderford. Better striking stats than Vanderford. He's barely outstruck his 2 opponents that we have stats for. He's at plus 0.07. 007. He's at minus 148. It's Gumby's turn again. See what he does now. See if he shocks us again.
Veretennikov all day.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and like, once upon a time, maybe Vanderford, but it's not that time anymore. Like if you want to go back to his fight with Fabian Edwards, which is now a little ways ago, you'd probably find stuff you like about him. I mean, like at the bottom line is his wrestling is still good. But, since then he's lost a couple of fights. His only win comes against a 42-year-old dude on the LFA prelims, and if you watch that fight, like I went back and I watched it, like no offense to the dude he's fighting, Vanderford knocked him out with like one stiff jab. And the worst part about it is he threw that same exact jab about 9 times in a row. And every single time the dude was not ready for it. And the 9th one dropped him. And I was just like, that's not a good win under any stretch of the imagination. And really, like, if you want to go back, you can kind of see that on the feet from Vanderford is like that, like big, long jab he throws. And it does take up some space. Like he does reach really well with it, but like, it almost leaves him there. He like doesn't get back out of the way fast enough. Like that one jab is pretty much all he's got. And like Veretennikov is really quick with the kicks. I think anytime he throws that jab, he's going to get kicked in the body so freaking hard. There's going to be no gas left at the end, even if he did want to wrestle. Wouldn't be surprised me if Veretennikov knocked him out with a head kick.
Look at you.
Lots of reasons to like Veretennikov here, though. I think he's much faster, should be able to avoid the takedowns.
Yeah, and Veretennikov can grapple a bit himself as well.
A little bit, yeah. He's not great there, especially being with like the OV last name, but like, it's good enough though.
Yes. Yeah, Veretennikov is my pick as well. I was thinking about Vanderford because he's only lost to Musasi and Aaron Jeffrey, but they both were knockouts, which is a concern.
And he got knocked out by Aaron Jeffrey, who's like, I know he's got some power, but like, maybe I'm being unkind to Aaron Jeffrey, but I just don't like think of him as this like super striker. You know what I mean? I don't think of Aaron Jeffrey as being this like, dazzling guy who's like hard to figure out.
Yeah. He's Canadian, so Gummy's being mean. That's just the way he rolls. So we're both in on Veretennikov here. All right. I don't think there's going to be any surprises with our next pick, but we shall see. This is a 135 bantamweight fight. If Gummy made a face or anything, I did not see it. So I'm still in the dark as to his pick. Bantamweights, we got Ricky Simón from the United States, Javid Basharat from Afghanistan. 3 5-minute rounds, 135. We'll tell you about the American first, Simón. 20-6, 6 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted once. 8-5 in the UFC. He has lost 3 straight. Before that, he won 5 straight. He's not won since July 2022. He used to fight up at featherweight, LFA champ, 2014 pro MMA debut. Better grappling stats than Basharat. He's been outstruck in the UFC by 0.85 strikes per minute, plus 230. This Snow Leopard Basharat, 14-4 with 1 no contest, 5 knockouts, 6 submissions. Never been finished in a fight. 3-1 with 1 no contest in the UFC. He did lose his last fight. He's not won since January 2023. Won 1 no contender series, was a regional champ. Used to fight at 145. 3 inches height, 3 years younger than Simón. Better striking stats, more accurate landing strikes. He's outstruck his opponents by 2.45 strikes per minute, minus 258. The Snow Leopard has got to be the pick here, despite losing the last fight. Simón is well past his sell-by date for sure. Basharat is better than him probably everywhere at this point. Definitely on the feet, and he's no slouch on the ground as well. So Farid Basharat is my pick.
Yeah, I like Basharat here, and also for anybody who's like not in on the line, I'm thinking about dabbling on Basharat inside the distance. I know he hasn't finished anybody in the UFC, but he is coming off of a fight where he literally lost due to inactivity, and like you have to imagine he went back and looked and is like, oh, I lost that fight because I just didn't pull the trigger ever, and thought I was winning a point fight, and like he has going into the UFC 11 finishes.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think we're going to see that killer version of Basharat again. And, not for anything, Ricky Simón has been knocked out twice by guys who go to Team Alpha Male, which is, like, maybe not their thing.
No.
But, like, 2 different Team Alpha Male guys have knocked him out. And so, like, the KO power is there. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Ricky wasn't used to being on his back and we see a takedown from Javid and, like, some sort of arm triangle or something like any finish being in play. The inside the distance prop for him is plus 285. That's how little faith they've gotten him finishing them. So I'm just going to throw that one out there too for anybody trying to church up this line a little bit.
Yeah. Plus 285. Got me. Can I use that?
Yeah, you can if you want. Yeah, by all means.
You're not using it?
I'm not going to use it. No, I got another one I really like.
I am definitely going to use that one. We have to wait till tomorrow to make sure, but I have an article to write too, and that's that's a surprising play, actually. It really is. Okay, we'll talk more about it. I
like when I've got you borderline speechless here. Yeah.
I'm surprised by that because we got an aging guy who's getting stopped and a guy who pretty much stops everyone. So yeah, interesting play. I I guess they're basing off his last few fights. So, all right, another who dat fight coming up next at middleweight. Nick Klein versus Mansur Abdul-Malik. You'll know Mansur Abdul-Malik probably. Plus, he's on Gumby's show this week. If you don't know him, you'll get to know him then. Let's break her down. Javid Klein, blue collar. Nick Klein, 6-1, 2 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out once. Short notice UFC debut. Warning, danger. He's won 3 straight, all via submission. 1-0 contender series. He's not lost since July of 2022. He's fed at light heavyweight and heavyweight. He's at plus 0.0 on contender series. Somehow he got hit exactly the amount of times he hit his opponent. Better grappling stats than Abdul-Malik based off that fight. Plus 650. Yikes. This is their biggest line of the evening yet. Abdul-Malik is 7-0, 6 knockouts, 1 submission. He's finished everyone. He owes his rounds. 1-0 in the UFC, 1-0 contender series. Used to fight at 205. An inch height, 2 inches reach over Klein, 2 years younger, 4 times more active landing strikes. He has outstruck his opponents by 2.4 strikes per minute, minus 800. Is there much to really need to say here? Abdul-Malik, obviously.
No, I picked against Nick Klein on contender series too.
Yeah, you didn't learn your lesson then, did you?
He pulled out that wild submission like 6 seconds into the fight or whatever it was, where he got like a rear naked choke with no hooks in, and he just like held on for dear life and somehow got the tap. I still think he loses to his contender series opponent 9 times out of 10. And you know, like, first of all, Mansur Abdul-Malik, I mean, I do think he's like a legitimate prospect. Like, I think he is probably by the end of the year, we're talking about a ranked middleweight. You know, he's that good. The takedown game, the ground and pound, you know, like he's been knocking people out on the feet before in the past. I mean, he won in dominant fashion on the contender series against Wes Schultz, who like arguably could probably be in the UFC too. Party time is legit as they come. So yeah, no, I'm all in on Mansur Abdul-Malik here. And if you want to hear me show you how to church up this line at -1,000, make sure to listen to tomorrow's show.
Well, I'll give it to you for -800 first of all, but yeah.
It's -800. He's come down. Look at that.
Oh wow. The money is pouring in on Mr. Blue Collar Nick Klein. All right, before we get to the last 2 plays of this episode, let me talk about Underdog. NBA, NHL, college basketball, whatever your sport, you can cash in big with Underdog Fantasy. Pick them. And right out of the gate, Gummy's going to give you something you can cash in on.
Yeah, Thursday's basketball. Jared Allen playing against the Nets, who, you know, they do have Nick Claxton.
Former team.
Yeah, they do have Nick Claxton down low, but you're right. Yeah, the revenge matchup of it all. I'm going to take Jared Allen's higher than on his rebounds. I think I saw they posted 10.5. He should be able to pull down 11. He's got that in 4 of his last 5. So give me Jared Allen's higher than on his rebounds.
I'm sure he's devastated that he can't be in Brooklyn anymore, right? He's playing for Cleveland instead. All right, sign up with the code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And SGPN's partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. Build your model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build you a model. College basketball, NBA, and golf, Rhythm has it all. Al Horford props, damn right, they have that as well. Claim your 7-day free trial today. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Check the spelling. All right, this could be a fun one. The featherweight, Andre Fili, United States. Melquizael Costa. You can call him Melky if you want. He's from Brazil. 3 5-minute rounds. We'll tell you about Touchy Fili first. 24-11 with 1 no contest, 10 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out 4 times, submitted twice. 12-10 with 1 no contest in the UFC. Loss win over his last 6 fights. He has missed weight before at this weight. 2009 pro MMA debut, 1 inch of height, 3 inches of reach over Costa. More active landing strikes than Costa has been. He has been outstruck though in the UFC by 0.23 strikes per minute. He's at plus 100, even money. Finally, we got ourselves a close line compared to our last fight. Costa is Melk Coffey, 21-7, 7 knockouts, 7 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted twice. 2-2 in the UFC. Loss win over his last 4. 4-2 over his last 6. He won his last fight via submission. He was a regional champ. He's 6 years younger than Fili. Better striking stats than Fili. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 1.17 strikes per minute, minus 115. Is it me or you? You, me, me. Costa is my pick here. He doesn't win every fight, but he fights hard every fight. Way younger than Fili. I think he can put a pace on touchy feel here. He's good everywhere. So I think I like the line here, and I think I like Mr. Costa, unless Gumby says something that makes me not like this pick.
I'm gonna go Andre Fili.
Really?
Two reasons. Number one, I don't trust the takedown defense on Melk after his last fight. He got taken down 4 times by Shayalan Nurdambik. And like that to me, first of all, is a problem. And granted, he got back up enough.
Yeah.
But like, Andre Fili's pretty good wrestler. Like notoriously, he's always been a pretty good wrestler. And then the other thing that bothers the hell out of me is he's not at Shoot the Box anymore. Melk Costa left Shoot the Box. He is training at a gym I've never heard of, and it's in Massachusetts. And somehow I have still not heard of it.
You haven't run into him?
He's training at least the 4th or 5th best gym in Boston. Because he's not at Lausanne's, which, I mean, that's Bridgewater, I guess, technically not Boston. But, like, he's not at Lausanne's. He's not at South Shore Sport Fight. He's not at Sityodtong. He's not at Brazilian Top Team. He was at this, like, and I don't want to disparage whatever the small gym is, but it was, like, this small gym, and I heard that, like, Joe Anderson Brito was, like, hanging out with him and training there. And, like, maybe the coach there is great. Maybe he knows a lot, but it looked like it was mostly, I was trying to snoop on it online. It's like, looks like mostly like a gi jiu-jitsu gym. And there's like no big MMA fighters out of there. It's just like him and Joe Anderson Brito chilling there. And I don't know if they just didn't want to train in Brazil anymore or like what it is, but like, you can't go from having like every training partner in the world at Diego Lima's Shoot the Box and then turn right around and have like, just like you and Joe Anderson Brito hanging out near my house, like that to me, combined with the poor wrestling defense, is like, it's all alarming to me, and so I'm going to go touchy feely here.
Why would you, of all the states you could go to, why would you choose that? Why would you choose to go to
When I heard he was training in Massachusetts, I was like, oh, cool. Where? And then I was like, no, still where, cause like if it was Sityodtong, I'd be like, okay, Mark Delgrati can help him round out his striking game or whatever. Or if it was Lausanne's, I'd be like, okay, well, there's a billion decent fight guys out at Lausanne's. And I mean, even if it was, Mom's Basement, Connor Matthews' gym, like then it would be Connor Matthews and Andrew Valdina and Joe Poyer. And like, those are all good people to be training with. But like, that basement in Connor Matthews' mom's house has seemingly a better set of training partners than wherever Melk is right now. And that like is alarming to me.
All right. Interesting. I'm still taking Costa. I still think he's a better fighter, but all valid points. I just don't, maybe he must've got sick of that horrible weather in Brazil. And you thought
in Curitiba.
Yeah. Let's go to Massachusetts. I hear the winters are beautiful there. So, all right. They confirmed they are not. We are to our main event of the prelims. We got Jan Cutelaba from Moldova versus Ibo Aslan from Turkey. So a couple places we don't talk about a lot of fighters from Turkey and Moldova. 3 5-minute rounds. Let's tell you about Cutelaba first. The Hulk, 18-10 with 18-10-1 with 1 no contest, 13 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted 4 times. 7-9-1 in the UFC. Win over his last 3. 2-4 over his last 6. He's fought a heavyweight 2012 pro MMA debut. A Sambo champion. He has better grappling stats than Aslan. He's outstruck his opponents by almost a strike a minute. In the UFC, he's at plus 0.95. On the betting board, plus 155. The last Ottoman, Ibo Aslan, is 14-1 with 14 knockouts. He's been submitted 1 time. 2-0 in the UFC, 1-0 in Contender Series. Multi-region championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. 2 inches height, 2 inches reach over Cutelaba, 3 years younger, better striking stats than Cutelaba, more active landing strikes than Cutelaba. He's outstruck his UFC and Contender Series opponents by 4 strikes per minute, which is pretty impressive.
Cerqueira has some of that problem.
Yeah, that's true. He's not lost a fight since he lost to the Pleasure Man. His only loss, August 2020. He's at minus 175. It's you.
Yeah. I'm going Ibo Aslan here. I think the big one for me is right. Like, what does Cutelaba do better? Like, he's going to be more aggressive. and he's going to want to wrestle. Right now, Ibo Aslan's takedown defense in the UFC is 100%. Largely, it's just by stuffing the Pleasure Man, who's really the only one who tried to take him down in their rematch. And like, I went back and I watched their first fight to be like, oh, is that a new improvement for him, or is he always kind of had good wrestling? Not only did he stuff all of the takedowns from the Pleasure Man in the first one, but he also was the one taking Turkali down. Like, he repeatedly took Turkali down and beat him up from guard. So like, he has like a good wrestling base. Obviously he's fallen in love with his hands, which is fine because like he's gonna be the better striker here too, right? Like, Cutelaba is not a guy going out and punching people's heads off, and he's been knocked out a fair amount of times, right? They let him get knocked out by Magomed Ankalaev like 3 times in like 4 weeks or something like that. That one time, remember? And so like, he's a guy who takes a bunch of abuse. He's a guy who also wears down pretty easily, and like all of those things to me, I'll take Ibo Aslan. I think he probably just lands the big punch.
Yeah, me too. Great. I think a pretty good line too for a younger power puncher going up against a guy with tons of wear and tear on him, who's going to probably blow his whole load out on at the ceremonial weigh-ins and not have any energy for the next day anyhow. So, all right.
What about the fight being canceled due to him throwing a punch too early?
Yeah, hopefully not. Yeah. We both have Aslan. He has Fili, I have Costa. We both have Abdul-Malik. We both have Basharat. We both have Veretennikov. He has McConico. I have Ruziboev. I have Bukauskas. He has Cerqueira. All right, you're all set. You can check us out in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord on YouTube, MMA Gambling Podcast. You can hit us up in the comments there. Make sure you subscribe. On Twitter, SGPN MMA. He's at Gummy Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer there and on Instagram. Check out my Substack. No pick 'em for this week because there's too many UFC events going on and not enough prizes. So, but you can still check out all my writing at moneymma.substack.com. Gummy has Top Turtle MMA podcast. He has Mansur Abdul-Malik on this week, and I'm trying to think who the other one is, and I'm blanking.
Octagon flyweight champion, Sam Creasy.
Can't forget him. Yes. So check out Top Turtle and, of course, sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. So you get sticky, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon to get bonus content. And remember, if you're going to sign up for mybookie.ag or underdogfantasy.com, MMA SGPN is your code. All right, back tomorrow. It will be Touchy, Jeff Fox, and the gentleman, Gummy Vreeland, and we will wrap up UFC Seattle tomorrow. Bye-bye. And your kids